Hello everyone, my name is Sarang. I hope you all doing great. I would like to take a moment to thank you all for supporting me on this channel so far. But I have noticed that most of the viewers are not subscribing to the channel, they are just watching the video. So if you really like the content, please hit the subscribe button. It will motivate me to create such content for you in the future. And also, I would like to hear from you. So, what I have done is I have added my contact details and LinkedIn profile on the video description. So, feel free to reach me out and share your thoughts. Also, I'm in Bangalore location. So, if you are around, so let's catch up sometime. So that's it from me. Let's get into today's video, that is creation of full stack application in Spring Boot and React, but using the OpenAPI generator. So let's get started.
Hey, so now let's see what to build and how to build. So let's first cover how to build part. Okay, so you can see these components. These components are of front end, and these are the components of the back end. The front end will be building using React, and the back end will be building using the Spring Boot framework. Okay, so as you can see that this is how the flow goes um, when you see both the application, the front end and back end, right? So the front end will basically renders the data on the browser. The UI layer is the responsible to give that data to the browser, and the API layer is the one which takes the data from the back end. Okay, and the back end has first a controller layer and then the business service, and the business service talks to repository talks to database and get back the data to the front end. Okay, and now we gonna generate this API layer and the controller layer, okay, using the OpenAPI generator Maven plugin. So Maven is a Java project build system. Okay, there is also one Gradle. You can use that if you are comfortable with that, but in this video we're going to use the Maven. And using this OpenAPI generator, what we're going to do is we're going to generate the API layer and the controller layer. Okay, and now this two are a different code base, right? So controller layer will be of Java and the API layer will be of TypeScript. So you can use JavaScript as well, but I have used the TypeScript in this video, right? So these are the two different code base. So we have to write, or we have to configure the generator for two generator type. So one generator type will be TypeScript Axios and another generator type will be a Spring. Okay, so for uh, for the front end, we're going to use this TypeScript Axios because we have this project in a TypeScript, and Axios is for calling the APIs, right? So Axios is one of the library that you can use it to call any APIs, correct? So we're gonna use this generator type in the OpenAPI generator to generate the API layer so that this API layer via Axios can communicate with the backend. Okay, so one of the prerequisite of this generator is to have the OpenAPI spec file. So if you have this spec file, you can give this spec file to this OpenAPI generator Maven plugin, and it will generate two code for us. One is for the API layer, another one is for the controller layer. Okay, so we have to configure this generator to generate this both the code. Okay, we will do that in the Spring Boot application. So in the Spring Boot application, once we write the OpenAPI spec file, we will configure this Maven plugin, and that plugin will generate the API layer and also the controller layer. So both of these layer will be first present in the Spring Boot application. We have to give the API layer to the React app. So we have to package or create an npm package of the API layer, push it to the GitHub npm registry, and and once the npm package pushed to the GitHub registry, we will pull that into the React application. So I'll repeat. So we will generate both the layer in the Spring Boot because this generator is of Maven plugin, and Maven is also is only used in the Java based application. So there are two types of basically you can use the generator in two form. One is the CLI way, another one is the Maven plugin way. So I'm showing you the Maven plugin way of generating the code or using the OpenAPI. So you can also use the OpenAPI generator CLI version. Okay, we're not going to look at the CLI version in this video. So I will configure this Maven plugin to generate this two layer, and one of the layer will be there in the backend only, but the API layer will be first pushed as a npm package to GitHub registry, and from the GitHub registry we'll pull that into the React app. And once we have this API layer in the React app, using this API layer we will communicate with the backend. So this is how the API layer will look like. So I'm coming in the package.json. So there is a package, npm package, that will push it to the GitHub registry with this name: dev problems YouTube videos API, and a specific version. Okay, so this is one of the npm package. We will push it to registry and then pull back in the React application to communicate with the backend. So this package knows how to get the data from the backend for a particular API. Okay, and so we will look that once we implement this. But I hope that you understood this flow that we're gonna you know implement in this particular video. And the part that what we're gonna build is, so let's quickly come to the Chrome browser here. I have this React app, right? So it has this logo, it has the background, it has the input box, it has 4 videos over here, right? These are my YouTube videos. So when you're not writing anything, it will give you some random videos over here. So once you write something of like AWS, it will give only the videos related to the AWS. Okay, there are more than 4 videos in my channel, but it will only give 4, as I have a constraint in the code that only 4 videos should come. And also if you write go, there will be 4 go videos coming here over here. You can directly start from here, as I'm using the iframe, so you can play it from the browser, from this page itself. So once you add a wrong tech over here or a language, you will not get any videos, but as soon as you write the right one, you will get it. Also there is a grpc tag that you can use to get the grpc related videos, and also one graphql. Okay, so GraphQL spell is wrong, so I'll correct it. You'll get 1 video of GraphQL. So this is what we're going to implement in this video. The only thing, or the only takeaway from this video, is that you will learn how to generate code using the OpenAPI generator with the 2 different generator types. One is TypeScript Axios, another one is Spring. So I hope you'll enjoy this video.
So now we'll implement whatever we have discussed so far, correct? So this is the Spring Boot application, and it has empty packages for now. As you can see, I've created config, delegate, entity, mapper, repository, service. So all of this is empty except the entity. Entity has a class with the name called video. It has ID, which is in primary key, and title, URL, and the tag. So the title is nothing but the video title. URL is the YouTube URL of the video, and the tag is the one which goes with the video, like whether it's an video is an AWS, gRPC, or Golang, right? So this is the data model, and I also have a data.sql file over here. So whenever the application gets started, I will add this data in the database. I'm using H2 database in this demo. Okay, and for this I have an entity. Also, I will soon create one repository which will help us to fetch the videos that is getting added when the application gets started. Okay, so I'm adding tag, title, URL into the database, and the ID is the one which gets generated automatically. Okay, so now if you look at the flow, the first step is to create the OpenAPI spec file. Okay, so I have an OpenAPI spec file with the name called api.yaml. So currently it only has a very basic information. It has title, description, version, and the control, which goes under the info section. And I'm using the OpenAPI 3.0.3 version. And this is the server section where I mentioned the URL. I'll also give the description. So this is I can say a local testing server. So sorry. So this is a local testing server. Okay. And here under the part, I will mention all the endpoints that I would like this application to expose. So I will create one endpoint with the name called YouTube/video, and I will give one path variable with the name called tag. So when user gives a tag with the name called AWS or gRPC or Golang, the specific videos will be provided to the user based on the tags. Okay, so this is a get API. Okay, and the syntax of the spec file should also have a tag. So I'll just give this a video tag, and then I will give a summary. I'll give get the video by tag, and I will give a operation ID. So operation ID is get video by tag. Okay, now in the parameter section, I'm going to mention one parameter called tag. Okay, so this is the tag, which is a path param. So I have to mention that it is in path. If it's coming in header, you have to write in header, or if it's a query parameter, you have to write here query. Okay, and here I will also mention that this is a required path param and it is of type string. Okay, now I have to mention the responses, how the response will look like for this particular API. So I'm gonna define one status code with the name called 200, and also I give a description success, and then I'm gonna mention the content type. So it's gonna be an application slash JSON, and the schema will be one Java class. So that class properties, I have to mention it under the components schema section. So I'll create one schema with the name called videos. So here is the component schemas, and I'll create one video schema. Okay, so this is of type array, and here there will be an items. The items of the array will be of type YouTube video. So I will again create another component which will be under schema, and the name is YouTube video. Okay, so I'll mention it over here, YouTube video, and this is of type object. Okay, and I'll also mention all the properties of this YouTube video. Okay, so there will be one ID coming in the response. There will be a title which is of type string, that will also come in a response. There is a URL of type again string coming in the response, and there will be a tag of type string that will also come in the response. I want to make all of this field as required, so I'll just write it like this, all the field. Okay, so I'll write 4 times ID, and then I'll write the property name. Okay, so I have created one endpoint which looks like this. It is a get type, and it accepts one tag. In the tag you can give values like AWS, Go, gRPC, and so on, and based on the tag that you give in the request, it will provide that specific video in the response. Okay, that video object will be in this way. It will have ID, title, URL, tag, and all of the fields are required. Okay, so the response will be the arrays of YouTube video. Okay, so now I'm gonna run the npm clean compile command, but before that I would like to show you the configuration of the OpenAPI generator Maven plugin. Okay, so if you remember, first we have to create an OpenAPI spec file, and then we have to give this file to OpenAPI generator Maven plugin. So in this video, when I recorded the video, the latest version was 7.4.0, and here I have mentioned two execution. One is having a generator type called Spring, and another execution have a generation type called TypeScript Axios. So if you remember from the diagram, I have chosen this two generator type, the TypeScript Axios and Spring. So for both of them, I have provided, or I have written the configuration. So that will help me to create or that will help me to generate the code. Okay, so for the execution for the Spring, I have given the input spec as api.yaml, and for TypeScript Axios also I have given the input spec as api.yaml. So I will generate the Spring code for this api.yaml, and for the same api.yaml I will also generate the TypeScript Axios code. Okay, and I would like the model and the APIs getting generated in a specific package. So I have given com dev problems backend server and the DTO. The API should be under the API section of the package, and these are the supported file that I would like to generate, API utils.java. Okay, so if you're not providing this particular tag and not providing this particular class here, the name of the class, then your code will fail. So there is a reason I have written API utils.java. And in the config option, I have given a title. I want all the models to be serializable. I want to use the data pattern, sorry, the delegate pattern, and I would like to use a tag called use Spring Boot 3, which was recently added, and it generates the code in a way that the Spring Boot 3 supports. For example, the Java X has been removed from the Spring Boot 3. Now the Jakarta is used everywhere. So it will it will not use JavaX, it will use Jakarta if you use this tag. Okay, and the second thing is in the TypeScript Axios, we already saw the input spec, which is pointing to this api.yaml, and I would like all the code getting generated into this particular directory. In the target, we'll have a generated source directory, and in that directory there will be a folder with the name called frontend ts axios package. So all the TypeScript Axios code will be generated into this particular folder. And why I have chosen TypeScript Axios? Because the TypeScript, we usually now use the TypeScript in the React application for its strong typing system. And the Axios is the client that we usually use on the React application, or any other client. We always use Axios for calling any APIs. So I've chosen the generated type as TypeScript Axios. Okay, now for this, the config option goes by like this. So there will be an npm name, the name of the package. So I would like to give this as dev problems YouTube videos API, and the npm version will be the same as the project version. Okay, and I'm gonna use the GitHub npm package as a repository for keeping this particular npm package into the GitHub. So I have given the npm repository link over here. Okay, so if you're pushing it to the any other registry, you can give that particular URL. I'm pushing it into the GitHub npm package, so I've given that URL. Okay, so we'll not push the this particular folder. Okay, we will push it later using the GitHub action, but I just wanted to show you that the content inside this folder, okay, which will help the React application to call the Spring Boot or the backend without writing a single line of code. So all the code which requires to call the backend will be generated for you in this particular folder. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly run the mvn clean compile command. Okay, so it has built successfully, and you can see in the target folder under generated sources, so there is one front-end ts axios packet getting generated. Okay, the same folder is getting generated here with the same name, and here you can see there is an TypeScript files over here. Okay, so there is a file called api.ts. Okay, so here it has the model YouTube video which we have defined in this particular api.yaml section. Okay, so it has all the fields, and also it has a method with the name called get YouTube by tag, sorry, get videos by tag. Okay, so this same API we have defined in the api.yaml, get video by tag. Okay, so from the React application, once you package this particular folder into an npm package, and you add this package into a React application, you just have to call this function in order to communicate with your backend. Okay, so your backend will be called when you write this function in your React app, and it will give you the video based on the tag. Okay, we'll look that. So I just wanted to show you what's getting generated inside. The front end part we'll cover later, but now we are just looking at the content. So there is also a package.json here is getting generated. So it's a full it's a TypeScript project here, and you can see that this is in the dependency section. There is an Axios and there is a TypeScript used over here. So we will publish this folder or the npm project into the GitHub npm package registry, as I mentioned earlier, but will not do now. We just have to, we have just checked the content of it. And for the backend, we have this folder with the name called OpenAPI main Java here in the DTO. If you look, there is a DTO and the API, right? So in the POM XML, we have mentioned that all the DTOs will be going under this package DTO, and the APIs will go under the API package. So here in the DTO, since we only have one model with the name YouTube video, so that has been generated. Okay, and in the API section, there are controllers getting generated. As you can see over here there is one controller generated for the API that we have written in the api.yaml. Okay, the API is nothing but this get video by tag. So if you open this YouTube API delegate interface, there is a get video by tag function already written. Okay, so what would happen is from the React app, once you call this function will internally call the Spring Boot application, and it will reach to this YouTube API delegate interface, okay, and it will call this get video by tag method. Okay, you have to override this method. It is just, it will not throw error. It will say that this particular function is not implemented. You have to override that, and that will be a business logic. So we're going to look that later, but I just wanted to understand the flow. Okay, so when you call this particular endpoint with YouTube video and the path variable, this particular function in the backend uh, will be invoked, which is in the controller section. Okay, and it will be basically your business logic will execute and you give the response. Okay, so this YouTube API delegate is called inside this controller. Okay, the first the call comes to this section, YouTube API controller, which internally uses this YouTube API delegate. As you can see over here, currently it is an interface. We have to create a class and override this particular method and write the business logic over there. So hope you understood what has been generated so far. So this is a TypeScript project getting generated here in the front-end TS access package, and this is the backend code getting generated for you. Okay, now let's finish off the backend part first, and then we'll go with the front end part. Okay, so in between, we also have to publish this particular npm project into the GitHub npm package registry. So we'll do that using the GitHub action, but not now. So let's first set up the backend project fully. Okay, now as I said that the data is getting loaded into database using this data.sql file. Okay, and it will use this video entity. We'll use this because we wanted to get that data from the database as well. So let's first configure the h2 database. So here in the api.yaml, I have a profile setup, but there is no content. So it is only having this dev profile. In the dev, I have nothing, but I just have a server port. So let's first configure the h2 database. So I will write spring h2 and then write console. I would like to enable the console, so I will write it like true, and then I will write the data source information, and under this I will give the URL for this particular h2 database. So I'll write gdbc h2 mem. I'll give a test db. Okay, and also if you have used this database h2, it will capitalize the table name and all the fields. So I do not want that to happen. I want everything to be a smaller case, so I'm just writing here database to upper, okay, which is false, and I'm giving a driver class name. I'm giving this as org.h2.driver. Okay, I'm giving a username. I'll give as dev problems, and also giving a password. So I'll give the same password. Okay, and once I finish this, I also want to configure a JPA. So in the JPA, I'll write show SQL, and I'll keep this as true. And I want the tables to be created while initialization of this application. So I will write this as true, that defer data source initialization. Okay, and I would like the Hibernate to update the tables based on the entity. So I just have video entity, it will update the entity if it's getting changed. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. This is the h2 configuration. I also want to configure the Swagger. Okay, so I will write spring doc, and I will write Swagger UI, and I will write disable Swagger default URL. I'll keep it as true. Okay, if you don't write this disable Swagger default URL, then you would see some random the pet store Swagger page. So you need to disable this, and once this is done, I would also check whether anything is missing. I think we are good. We'll start the application. Okay, so as you can see, I have removed the Spring Boot the banner. I have written my own banner. So I have added that banner under the resources section. Here I have created my own banner, so it is it is coming over here in this way. Okay, so now I think let's log into the Chrome and open the Swagger 8081 Swagger. Okay, Swagger is working, and also you can see that there is one API YouTube video tag. This is the one we have currently implemented, right? So I have this Swagger dependency already added, so I forgot to show you that. So let's look into the dependencies quickly. So I have this spring.openAPI's WebMVC UI dependency already added. So this is what rendering the Swagger for us on the browser. I have this starter web dependency. I'm not for having a Tomcat in my application, and this is the Swagger annotation I'm using because the all the Swagger annotations used in the application will render all that data into this Swagger UI, right? So I need that Swagger annotation, and this is Jackson data by nullable. This is required by the generator, this plugin, and this is Lombok, and then I have a Spring Data JPA, I have H2, I have map struct for mapping. So we will also write a code related to the map struct, and I have this annotation processor, and this is the test dependency, and this is the Spring Boot Maven plugin which is required, and I have this OpenAPI generator Maven plugin which I've explained a few minutes back. Okay, now also log in into the H2. So 8081 H2 console. Okay, so here I just have to write the username, sorry, the password, and I'm connecting. Okay, now I have one schema created with a name called video. As you can see, the data got loaded automatically because I have written that into data.sql file, and here it is, everything is getting loaded automatically when I start the application. Okay, so as you can see, I have total 13 data or 13 rows. 4 has a tag called AWS, and this is the title of the video and has the corresponding URL. Same goes for the grpc tag is available. It has the video title and the URL, and so on, also for Go and the GraphQL. Okay, so I showed you two things. One is H2, another one is the Swagger, and let me give one tag with the name called AWS. Okay, execute. Now it is giving me the response status as 501. The reason it is giving me 501 because if you look at the generated code, okay, for this particular YouTube API delegate, it is giving this particular status code for me, which is nothing but 501. Okay, which is not implemented. Now if you look at this particular response, it is giving 501. Okay, we have to override this particular function so that we can start writing the business logic. Okay, so now we know that whatever the code we have generated, it's working. It is just that we have to override the functionality in order to give the response that we need to give. Okay, and one more thing I would like to show you is the Swagger URL, right? So I can also give my own path. So I would like the URL to look like this, like Swagger API docs and then Swagger. So if I start the application, okay, now I don't have to write this Swagger UI. I just have to write API doc and Swagger. Okay, so I think it's API docs. Okay, so I have to write like that. Okay, the UI is getting generated. So based on the path that you have mentioned, you can basically write that same part in the section, and it will generate that UI for you. Okay, so I hope so far what we have done makes sense. So let me close this out and let's start overriding the functions of this. There is currently only one function, right? So I will quickly create a new class. I'll write YouTube delegate IMPL. Okay, so I'll implement YouTube, just one second, YouTube delegate this interface, and I will try to override this get video by tag. So before even that, I have to create the service because service holds the business logic, right? So I'll quickly write video service, and I will annotate this as service. Okay, and I need to auto wire the repository. So let's create the repository class Okay, so this will be video repository. Okay, so this will extends the JPA repository, and the entity will be of type video, and this will be of type integer, the primary key. Okay, so this will be an interface, not class. Okay, so here I have to kind of find the videos by tag. So user will give me one tag, right? So if you look at the delegate, so I'll get one tag. So based on the tag, I have to return the data. I have to return the video links to the user, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write my own function over here, list of video, find by tag, and here I'll give a tag. Okay, now I need to auto wire this particular repository, so I'll write private final video repository, and I will also write the constructor. Okay, and here what is the return type? Here return type is the public response entity list of YouTube videos, right? The same thing we need to return it from here. So I'll write public this one, get video by tag. I'll get the tag here, and then I need to write a code that invokes the repository first. Okay, so I'll write this dot video dot find by tag, and I'll write tag over here. I will receive list of videos. Okay, but the video now this will return me a video which is an entity. I need to return the DTO which is of type YouTube video. So for that I will create a mapper. Okay, so I will write a new class called video mapper. So this will be of map struct, and I want this to be a component model, the name called spring. Okay, and here we will write one function which will convert the video into YouTube video. So YouTube video will write video to YouTube, YouTube the video, and I have to provide list of videos. Okay, so I have written like this, and this should be an interface. Okay, now if you don't know about mapstruct, so this is one of the mapping library in Java that we can leverage to generate the mapper code as well. Okay, so this is one of the good thing about the mapstruct, that we don't have to write a getter and setters and set the values. We will leverage the generation of the mapstruct library that generates the mappers for us. So I'll write video mapper. Okay, so I want to auto wire this to remove this one. Okay, so here I will return this dot video mapper dot this function and pass the videos over here. Okay, so we are good to invoke this particular function. So here I need to first annotate this as service, and then private final video service. I will use the construction injection, and then I will write return response entity dot okay this dot video service, and get video by tag, pass the tag. That's good, right? So now we are good with the business logic. Now we will not get 501 because we have implemented this particular interface. So now let's quickly start the application. Okay, so let's refresh this Swagger, and then quickly add the tag with the name called AWS. As you can see, I got the response 200. I got the arrays of ID, title, URL, and tag. So there are 4 videos of AWS. Okay, now I will quickly add some other tag, gRPC. I also got the 4 details, and as you can see in the H2, the gRPC start with 5, ends with the ID 8, and here also if you see it start with 5, ends with 8. Okay, so that we are correctly getting the response or getting the data from the database. If you write a wrong tag which is not present in the database, so grp is not present in the database, if you provide that tag, you will get empty array in the response. Okay, so so this is what I wanted to show you. The business logic is also implemented. I think now we are good to invoke a single API, the one that we have just now implemented. We are good to invoke that from the React application. But we know that we have generated this API layer. Okay, this API layer is nothing but this particular front-end TS Axios package. We have generated this particular code, right? We need to use this code to call this particular method get video by tag, okay, which will come from the controller will call this particular function. So we want to push this particular project front-end TS Axios package to GitHub npm package repository. Okay, so how we going to do this? We're going to use the GitHub Actions. So I will push the code into GitHub, and then the GitHub action will be executed. That will push the code into a registry, and then we're going to pull that code into a React application. Okay, so we'll do this next. So we're gonna look how we're gonna publish this particular folder, the front-end TS Axios package, which is an npm project, and we want to publish to GitHub npm registry. Okay, and to do that, we'll leverage the GitHub Actions, and we're gonna take the action when we are pushing the code into a main branch. Okay, I have set up the GitHub repository with the name full stack Spring Boot React OpenAPI generator. It has a folder with the name called backend, and currently it has that particular code which we have just now implemented. Okay, so I'm gonna run two jobs. One is to build the jar, another one is to publish this particular package. Okay, now the first step is to check out the code and use this backend folder as the working directory, and then set up Java, and then build the project, package it, and publish this particular front-end TS Axios package by going into this directory. As you know, this particular package is under backend target folder generated sources. Inside that, this is the npm project that we have. So it will first publish this as an artifact. So, okay, because I want to use this artifact in the next job. The next job is to publish the front-end TS Axios package. Now to do that, I will first add the first job as a dependency. As you can see, it says that it needs the build jar to be completed first, and then continues this particular job. Okay, the first step is to download that particular artifact. Now we have published the artifact with the name front-end TS Axios package. The first step is to download that. And what this particular artifact consists, it consists of these files. Okay, now I want to set up node.js. I'm using node 18, and I'm installing all the npm dependencies. Okay, so this is nothing but on this particular folder, on the GitHub, we will first run the npm install command, and it will create a node module here. Okay, and then I'm just disabling the GitHub tag from the npm version that is not required. And once like the project is getting generated, I will bump the version. Okay, and it's necessary to bump the patch version, because whenever you're publishing an artifact, like to a registry, you don't have to have the same version number. You have to publish it with a newer version. So I'm automating this process. So once you builds the project, the patch version will be updated, and then it will publish it to the GitHub registry. Okay, and now this is the environment variable that you need to use it if you are publishing to GitHub node registry. You want to have this GitHub node auth token. So that will be of type this is your access token that you can generate from your GitHub profile, right? You have to go to your settings and then generate one token for yourself, right? I think you're aware about this. I'll quickly show. If you go to settings, go to the developer settings, and then generate one token for yourself, and then add that token as a secrets in the repository. Okay, I have this repository. Go to settings, and then go to settings and variable, and go to action. I have already set up one secret with the name called dev problems GitHub token. So you need to add this and then reference it from here. Okay,
Now, quickly set up the GitHub Actions. So if you click on this Actions, you would see a bunch of registry over here. You can publish Java package with Maven. You have a publish Java package with Gradle. So you can also host your Docker image on the GitHub. So we are using npm, so we'll use the npm as publish node.js project or package to GitHub packages. Okay, so the next step is to write your action file. As you know, we already have one, so we'll quickly open that. I'll copy paste it over here. Okay, so the same content I have copy pasted, I will commit the changes. Okay, commit directly to the main branch and click commit. Okay, so there is one file got created with the name called .yaml. Okay, now if you look at the actions, here already the action got started. Okay, one workflow runs. So if you open this, the first job is getting executed, that is called build jar. Okay, and if you open this build jar, there are the steps that we have set up in the file are getting executed one by one. So first is the checkout code, the second is to set up Java or JDK 17, the third is to build with Maven, which will build the package. Okay, the third is to publish the front end artifact. Okay, and now this job is getting completed now. So the first job is completed. Now we are starting the second job. Okay, so it is downloading that front end TS access package, setting up the node, installing the dependency, and then it is publishing. So we got one error. We are saying that cannot publish over existing version. Oh, so I think I already have one one package with the same name. So let's go to your profile. I'll go to packages. I have this one, so let's quickly delete this. I don't want this, I want to create a fresh one. Okay, so I'll go to the package settings and then delete this package. I just have to write this particular package name and I delete this package. Okay, so let's quickly go back and run that action again. So I think we have messed up, so let me quickly remove this line and go to my profile. Just 1 second. Oh, okay, so let me just use this particular bookmark. Okay, I just want to search for full stack and then come back to the actions. Okay, I have deleted the previous version, the already existing package that I had in my account. I'm going to create a new one again, so I'll rerun this particular workflow. Okay, so before that I just wanted to show you the version, right? So if you go to the pom xml, the current version of my project is 1.0.0, and I have given this reference to this particular mpn version as well, which will use that same version. Okay, now the package which will be published will use the version 1.0.1. Because why one? Because if you remember, we have in the ci.yaml we have asked it to bump the version, the patch version, right? Major, minor, and the patch. So the patch is currently 0. It will, once the workflow gets started, it will increment that to 1. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rerun the job, rerun failed job. Okay, rerun job. So only the failed one was the second, so it will rerun that second one. So it is installing all the npm dependencies and publishing the npm package, and now the the second job is also finished. That means we should see one package into our GitHub account. So I just wanted to show the artifact. As a result of these two jobs, one artifact got created, front end TS Axios. Now this is an artifact, this is not in package. So to look at the npm package, we have to again go to my profile. Okay, and there is one package, YouTube videos API. So it has an instruction call with the name called like install this npm, run this npm install and add this particular npm package name. And it has an instruction, it has the latest version at 1.0.1 and all the other things here. And I just wanted to link this particular package to my repository, so I'm gonna add this and just type it out full stack. I want to add or link it to my repository and give this uh, an admin role. Okay, so I've added that to my repo. So now if we go back to my repo, this is my repo. Okay, as you can see, the package is not yet linked. It will link once you publish 2 or 3 versions again. I've seen that it's not getting linked immediately, but I hope you understood how to publish your particular TypeScript Axios project that you have over here in the target folder. We have used the GitHub Actions to publish that into an GitHub npm registry. Now we're gonna install this particular npm package into a React app. Okay, so let's see that next. So now this particular folder is getting created, .github workflows, right? Inside this there is a action files, as you know that we have already seen it. So make sure that to pull it uh, from the GitHub. So right, GitHub git pull origin main. Okay, so our .github, and if you look at that github, there will be a workflow folder and also that particular file. So I'll quickly show you github, sorry, not this one, cd github cd workflow ls, there is one of the same file. Okay, this particular file, now we have it in the local. So this particular folder is created by the GitHub automatically when we set the actions. Okay, now you also have that in the local, so that's great. Now one thing that we're going to start doing is that we will start working on the React app. Okay, currently I have a app.tsx file, and I have two very basic component header, which is referencing to a logo.png here. Okay, this particular logo, and the spinner is referencing to this particular spinner.gif. Here it is. Okay, so these are the two very basic component I have it so far, and I have this main file with the name called app. It has this particular header component. Okay, the css part I have already implemented. Okay, so I'm not going to write any css in this video, and only going to use the class names and going to reference those css in the component. Okay, so now when I start this particular project, let's see what it has. Okay, so it has the background, it has the logo. Now let's start creating the input field. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the what you call the search component. Okay, but before even that, I wanted to show you the package.json. Okay, now we're gonna install that package that we have published to the GitHub npm registry, because it has a code already generated for us to call the backend. Correct. Now I'm gonna quickly go to the GitHub. Okay, go back to the profile, click on the packages. I'll go to this particular package. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, and since it's in your particular repository, correct, so make sure that you have this particular npm rc file. It is referencing to your GitHub registry with your username, and also make sure to add your GitHub token. Okay, so I added the token in the environment variable, so it is taking directly from there. Okay, so if you're not having this npm rc file, then you won't be able to pull the package from the GitHub registry. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the npm install command and write the name of the package that I want to install. So now if you look at the package.json, I have this particular um, package in my package.json. Okay, if you look at the node modules, I'll quickly search with a name called dev. So here it is. So this same files, you already saw it if you remember, right? So if you look at the IntelliJ, right, I have this files api.ts based ts common ts. All of these files are in this now package with the name called YouTube videos API, and we already saw how we publish that into an GitHub npm registry, and then we have pulled this, right? So this is how you do when you're working with multiple people. You have a front end guy, you have a back end. So in order to give this kind of generated code, you would definitely use this kind of registry. And if you're a single developer, you can do it in your local itself. You don't have to publish it anywhere, you can test it local. But I just wanted to cover that publish part as well, so I just showed you how you can publish it to the GitHub registry, and then push and then pull it. Okay, now we will use this package in the code, but first let's complete the UI part a bit. Okay, so now when we start calling the APIs, we will definitely use what's inside this package. Now I want to quickly create one input box. Okay, so I will create a component with the name called search.txs. I'm gonna quickly write the function for this, and there'll be a s- prop for this. So let me also create an interface with the name called search prop. Okay, so here I would like to export this. So what's inside this prop is there will be one search function which will be passed from the parent app component. Okay, so I will show you how. So it will be like a void. Okay, and this will be a function with the name called search, and this is the arrow function that I'm going to use. Okay, so I need to import this. I've already imported now, and now I'm gonna export this as a default as search. Okay, and let's see what's the error. It's not assignable. We'll see why. Okay, it's not used, but in the app.ts I'm gonna add this search component. Okay, here I'm gonna provide one function. Okay, it's gonna be like a search functionality. Okay, so whatever we're gonna write here, here it will be a tag will come. So we're gonna quickly go inside this. Okay, so there is an error, export default. I'm not sure why it is saying the error, the void is not assignable. It's fine. So let's create one input element. So let's go to return, and I'm gonna create a section, and the section class name is search. Okay, and I'm gonna create one input element. It is of type text, and give a placeholder. I will write like search dev problems YouTube video. Okay, and I'm gonna give a value. So I need to create one variable with the name called search text, and set search text. I'll write use state. This will be of type string. I'm going to an empty string for now, and I'm going to quickly import this from the React. Okay, I'm going to give search text here. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Now on change, what I want to do is I want to invoke one function. So I'll get one event. Okay, and that event will particularly invoke one on change function, and from that event I want target.value to be given to this particular function. So I'll write on change, and I will give one get one tag. Whatever the user is writing, I'll get it over here in the tag variable, and I'll write set search tag. I'll change the state and also call the search function that I'm currently getting is getting as a prop. Okay, so one more thing I want to write is autofocus. Okay, so our input is as expected. Now inside this I want to quickly write the search functionality. Okay, so here in the search functionality I want to make this async, because whenever the user is writing the tag name in the input box, I want to call an API, right? So I want to make this as async. Okay, so here I will write search, provide this search functionality. Okay, I want to import this. Okay, now comes the API calling part. Okay, but before even that I want to load when the user is trying to fetch the information from the data or from the backend, I would like to set a loader. So I will quickly write one is loading variable. Okay, so loading, and I'm gonna use useState here as well. So it will be of type boolean. I'll make it as a false by default, or we can make it as a true. Okay, so by default it starts loading. Okay, so I make sure that it is true here as well, because the state can be changed any point of time. So make sure that it is true, and here we're gonna write a code for API call. And once we get the data, I want to write set is loading to false. Okay, now let me quickly create one file with the name called api.ts. Okay, now here, if you go into the node modules, you would see one api.ts file in this package, which we have pulled from the GitHub registry. And here, if you open this particular file, you will see video API factory, which is a function. It takes a configuration, it takes a base path, and it takes an Axios instance. Okay, now this is not only the way to call the get video by tag. There is also one way called video API. So there is a class. In that class also same method is there, get video by API. But the initialization of this particular video API is different from this particular video API factory. So we're going to leverage this video API factory. Okay, but if you just check the function parameters, it asks you to have this Axios instance and also the configuration. Now inside this configuration, there is an API key, username. If you have an auth, you can provide all these details, access token, base path. We don't have any of this. So what we're gonna do is, in our file, we're gonna write const video API, and we're gonna import this video API factory. Okay, as you can see, it is coming from our package dev problems YouTube video API. Okay, now in the configuration, I don't want to provide anything. The base path will be empty, and here I need to provide an Axios instance. So I will write here API and Axios dot create. Okay, here I need to give the base URL. Okay, and the base URL should be of the backend. So I will write the base URL of backend is 8081/API. Okay, I need to import this. Okay, so once we do this, sorry, this is const. We also need to write one headers. So this would be a accept. You can write any header you want. So I'm gonna write the accept one and provide the Access instance over here. Now we have this video API instance, which has this method called video API dot get video by tag. Now this is the function that we just need to invoke in order to get the data from backend. So it will internally call the Spring Boot application and get the data for us, right? We are not writing any code call like xeo.get, xeo.put, xeos.delete. We are not writing this kind of code. We are only invoking a function which knows how to contact the backend, and that particular code we have all we saw how to generate that, and we already saw how to publish that npm package and everything, right? So now we are at this stage. So I want to wrap this function get video by tag in another function and make it async. Okay, so we'll take one tag from the user and make it as a promise, and we will get YouTube video of type array from the backend. Okay, we saw in the Swagger we used to get that particular response in the array format. So we'll have this constant response wait video API dot get video by tag. We just have to pass the tag and then return the response dot data. Cool. So this YouTube video is also coming from this particular package. You already know how this particular model looks like. It has ID, title, URL tag, and so on. Okay. So now let's go to the app.ts. Now we have to write a code for API call. Correct. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first declare one variable video details. Okay, and that will be an await and get video by tag, and we'll pass the tag which is coming as an input from the user, right? So the search functionality will be called for every input that user gives in the input box, and for every single letter we will make a API call. Okay, now once that is done, we have to kind of update the state of this particular app component. We have to know what's the response from the user, and we have to keep it in a state. So we'll write videos, set videos, and write use state. Okay, it will be of type YouTube video array, and I'm gonna give is an empty array. Okay, we're gonna update this particular state, set videos. Okay, and get the video details. Cool. So once we get the video details, we have updated the state, and then we have to create one more component with the name called video grid. So that component video grid will show all the videos on the UI. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly create one more component. Okay, not this one. So I'm gonna create video grid dot tsx. Okay, so this is responsible to render all the videos. So I'll write video, which we are getting it from the backend. So we have this video grid. It is again a functional component, so it will be like a video grid prop. So we're gonna create a prop soon. So this will basically accepts videos and is loading. So this will be of type boolean. We don't have to mention it. We will create the interface which has the type video grid prop. So we'll have videos, and this will be of type YouTube video, this one, and we have is loading. It will be of type boolean. Okay, so we have written that as a prop, and we'll return that if is loading is true, and then just show the spinner. That means the the data is still in transit. And if is loading is false, then I would like to have this section component class name as cards, and here I'm going to take the videos, use the map function, and take each video and give it to the other component, which is a video component. So I'm gonna create one more component called video.txx. Okay, so this will contain an iframe. So I'll write const video fc. This will create a video prop. Okay, and this video prop will look like this. So I'll write interface video prop, and there will be a video of type YouTube video. Okay, so here in the video grid we will get an array. For each video we will call this video component. Okay, and this will take the video prop, return. So we'll use a div, and here we'll use the class name card. Again we'll use a div. This will use a class name. So I've already written the CSS of all of this, so I'm just writing the actual logic. So the iframe, so the source is video URL. So if you remember, our data which is coming from the backend has the video URL and the title as well. So video dot title. We don't want frame border, so we'll remove this. So we have set the src title, allow full screen, and I would like to give a class name that would have the card front, and give the width as 420. Okay, and give the height as 315. So I'll just import this. Okay, I hope this looks fine. So here I just have to use that particular component video which we have just now created, and also I have to make sure that I export this video grid, okay, so that I can use it in the app.tsx. And here in the video I just have to write it again. So it is a video, the key will be a number. Okay, so I'll convert the id which we are getting from the backend, so I'll have video.id. Okay, and this video prop, I'll give it to the video component. Okay, I hope this is making sense. I think not messed up with the syntax. Okay, let me quickly start importing all the required things. It implicitly has an any, so binding elevator has no, I just have to write it. I import this fc. Okay, uh, okay, so I have added this video. I didn't export this, so export default video. Now if I check the video component, I can import this. I just have to do the bracing correctly. Okay, so it makes sense. Now I go to the api.txs. I will import the video grid, and here I need to pass two things, right? So I need to pass the is loading the is loading value. So I'll write is loading, and then videos will be the videos variable. So that's why we have created the state of it. So whenever the state is getting changed, it will go to the video grid, and video grid will update the basically the videos on the UI based on the values that we pass, and each video that we get it from the backend will be rendered on this video component. Okay, so now the API part I have already discussed. We just calling one function get video by tag that will internally call the backend. Okay, now let's quickly start the backend application first. Okay, I'm starting the backend application. Okay, now in the VS Code I'm gonna write npm start. Hope everything's work well. Okay, so it is showing spinner, but we are getting a network error because we haven't configured the cores in the backend. Correct. So let's quickly configure the cores first, and then we'll come back to this front end. Okay, so I will stop the backend. Okay, so I will quickly create a new class cores configuration. Okay, here I'm gonna write configuration. I just have to create one bean and whitelist the localhost 3000. That is the post of that is the the port of the React. So get cores configuration. I just have to write IO here, and I have to return the add cores mapping. So I'll write new web MVC and implement this add cores mapping. Okay, remove the default implementation, put the colon over here, and then registry add mapping. Here I would like to give API slash this one for all the APIs which is starting with API and ends with anything. For that I would allow origin. So any calls been made from the local host 3000 should be allowed, and allow headers. I would like to allow all the headers, and then allow methods. So that is not put push sorry put get delete all of the methods I would like to give access to this particular origin, that is localhost 3000. So I'll write it like this. Okay, I hope we are good. Now restart the application. Okay, now reload the React application. Now we have not written any keywords over here or tags in the input box, so that's why the spinner is getting loaded. So if I write a, the API call is made. Okay, and there is no video with a tag called a. There is a tag with the name called AWS. So we got the data from the backend. So we'll also implement one more API, and the reason is that when you refresh the page, you see only spinner is getting it's getting rendered over here. There are no videos. If you are not writing anything, nothing comes over here. So by default, when the page is getting refreshed, I want to have 4 videos over here. So what we're gonna do is first we're gonna stop the backend application and also stop the front end. Okay, so here I'll stop the front end as well. So now I want to implement one more API. So for that I need to again go and edit and add the new API details over here. Okay, I want to have 4 random videos coming over here when I refresh the page. Okay, and when I write anything about, let's say, a tag with the name called AWS gRPC or Go, the videos will come up, right? So I by default there should be some videos coming over here when user is not typing out anything. So now what we're going to do is we'll write the API definition for a new API. Since we have edited the api.yaml, we will also publish the new npm registry, or the new npm package to a registry with a different version. Okay, so before we push this particular project, I would like to increment the version. Okay, that is 1.0.1. Now if you look at this particular package, it already having 101, but when we run it in the action, if you remember, we have that one action with the name called bump patch version, right? So if I have that particular ci.yaml, yeah, so this file, I already have this npm version patch getting pumped. So whenever we push the code, the new package will be created of npm and that will be pushed to a registry. So let's quickly implement one more API. Okay, so that will be YouTube videos, and it will be get API. I'll write again the same video. I'll give a tag called video, and I don't have any parameters, so I can directly first write the summary. I'll write get videos, and I will give operation ID. I'll write get videos over here, and I'll give a responses. I don't have request body because there are no post API. I will give a description. The description is success. Okay, and I will write the content application slash JSON. I'll write the schema. I'll write the ref components schemas, and I'll link it to the same schema that I have videos. Okay, so this particular API will give 4 videos, any four. It's not going to give any random 4 videos. So I'll open the h2. As you can see here, there are 13 entries in this h2 database. I want to give any 4 video which should have a unique tag. So there are 4 unique tags: AWS, gRPC, Go, and GraphQL. So I would like to give one video from AWS, I would like to give one video from gRPC, one video from Go, another video from the Go from the GraphQL. So this particular API, when it's getting invoked, I want to give a video URL which has a unique tag. Okay, so there will be four videos coming in the response which will have a unique tag. So for that, first I will quickly go and implement that in the repository. We have to write a native query for this, correct? So I will write query annotation. Okay, I'll give a value. I'll write uh, I'll write select e dot id, e dot title, e dot url, e dot tag from video table. Okay, consider the entire video table as e, and e.id in. I just have to write one more subquery. So select min. Okay, I'll give e2 for the subquery, e2.id from video e2 and group by, okay, group by e2.tag. Okay, since I have group by e2, I have group by, so I will get a unique URL with a different tags. Okay, so I'll give a list of video and I'll write find distinct uh, by tag. Okay, like to give this as a value. So this subquery will give us the give us, you know, all the records. It will group by the tag. It will group all the records that we have in the database. Okay, and from that group it will basically take the minimum, meaning that for the AWS the minimum ID is 1, for gRPC the minimum ID is 5, for Go the minimum ID is 9, so for GraphQL there is only one, which is 13. So it will give the values as, it will give this row 1, it will give fifth row, it will give a ninth row, and it will give 13th row, okay, in the response. So let's quickly see that in action. So I have implemented this or I've written this definition in the spec file. So I've written a new API in this. So I have to build the project or compile it. Okay, so I have compiled this. I'll come to the video service. Okay, now as soon as I compile, okay, you would see in the generated sources in the api.ts there is one more function got added, get videos. Get video by tag was already there. Now new function got added here, and also in the generated code, if you see here src main resources for the API, if you look at the delegate, there is one more function added with the name called get videos. Previously there was only one. Now we have added a new function, a new API definition in OpenAPI spec file, so that it has added that code for us also in the target folder. So now let's quickly go to the service and invoke the repository function that we have created. Okay, so we'll write public list of YouTube video, get videos. Okay, and then var videos will get this dot video repository and will return by this video mapper. Okay, we'll pass the video over here. Okay, so this is a service. Now we have to go to the delegate, and if we click on the override, there is one more function, get videos. So we'll quickly copy this and paste it over here. Here we have to write get videos and pass nothing. Okay, so we have implemented this new API as well. Okay, now let's invoke this from the Swagger quickly. Okay, we got some issue, an unknown could not resolve video. Okay, let's quickly check. I think there is a issue in the query that we have written from the video. Let me quickly check the query once again. So we have select e.id title URL tag from video e, where e in id is in this particular select, minimum e.id from video e2, group by this. It's look fine. So let's check the uh, okay, define. It's saying that unsatisfied dependency exception, error creating video service defined here, could not create query for validation, failed for query, find distinct by tag. So let's look at the query. Table number is this. It's look fine to me, but oh, I have to kind of write native query as true. Now let's execute this function. Sorry, this application. Now there are no errors. Okay. Oh, okay. Now let's refresh the Swagger. We got one more endpoint over here, videos. So we're gonna try it out. Execute. We got the response 15913. That's what we have decided previously, that we'll get one the 5 is unique tag, one is unique tag. Out of this AWS, the lowest ID is 1. Out of this gRPC entries, the lowest is 5. We got that. The ninth is the go, and 13th is the GraphQL. So that's what we have got in the response. Okay. Now we know that we have added a new endpoint and we have generated code for that. The front-end TS access package also has a new function added over here. Now we have to publish this project into a Git npm repo in the Git npm registry, right? To do that, we just have to push the code. Okay, so we have actions already set up. So write git status, we'll write git add, git commit, we'll write a commit id new version .0.1, and we're just going to push. Now if you come to the package, go to the repository and go to this full stack spring boot react repository. Now see, the GitHub action is already executed. If you look at into actions, new version 1.0.1, with the same commit message, it has started this GitHub action and it is executing the first jar. Okay, so if you want to look at the workflow file, you can have a look. So as we have written, on every push we have to execute this particular action. So that's what it's happening. Okay, the first job is completed. Now it is starting the second one. Okay, now it is running the publish npm package. Okay, so I think it is completed. Okay, now let's look at the go to the your profile, click on the packages. Now the latest version should be 1.0.2. Okay, it has already shows the total download. It was 1 as previously we have downloaded. Right now we have to get this into our React application. So to do that, we will increment the version as the latest one 1.0.2, and we just have to write npm install, so it will install the latest one. Okay, 1.0.2 has been downloaded. Now you will see that the total downloads will 2. Okay, it is 2. Now we'll quickly use this new function that we have generated, right? So it should be like get videos. Again, it's gonna be an async. It takes nothing and it will return the YouTube video array. Okay, and I think this is not required. And then we will write const response await video API get video, this function, which will call the backend's get video API and return the response.data. Okay, now this particular function, I hope there is one issue. Oh, I think this is not required. I have simply added that by mistake. And now in the app.ts, we have to basically, if you open the React app, we want to call the API when the component is getting loaded for the first time, right? So whenever we refresh, the app component will be rendered. I want to use the use effect uh, hook. So we'll write use effect and we'll quickly import this. Inside this, before calling the API, I'll set loading as true. And after calling the API, I will write set is loading to false. Okay, and here I will write or run this particular function called get video, and this will return me a promise which will have the YouTube video, and I will name this as YouTube video. And for each YouTube video I would like to set the state YouTube video. Okay, and I would like to basically take this inside this particular, because we have used then. So once we get the response we would like to set the I have to write this particular curly brace. Okay, so once we get the response we would like to uh, use the then function that will take the YouTube video and update the state of the React app. Okay, now I'll quickly first start the backend application to see this action. So I'll write npm start. Okay, so it is getting. Okay, so I see that the videos are not coming. So let me check that, because in the dependency I haven't added anything. Okay, so it should be empty at least. So let me just quickly check this. Okay, I missed the curly brace, and then add like this. So as you can see, without even writing anything, I got 4 videos, and these are all the 4 videos that are unique, having a unique tag: AWS, gRPC, Graph, Go, and GraphQL. So we'll write a key over here called gRPC, and we got the gRPC videos of that tag, all the videos of gRPC of gRPC tag. And now there is one issue: if we make this input box empty, we'll get this error, and the backend is throwing this error because it is expecting at least one path. I mean, a path variable in the request, and when the input box is empty, the path variable is empty. Correct. So we need to write one condition over here. So the condition is when the tag is empty, or the input tag is empty, do not call the API. Okay. So I'll write video details. It will be of type YouTube videos. I'll just write like this, and if there is a tag, okay, then call the get video by tag API, else call the get videos API. Okay, and set the state. So once we come over here, now if I write AWS and if I remove, it will call the get videos API, because now the tag is empty. Now if I, as soon as I fill the tag, the tag is now AWS, so it is calling this get video by tag API. I hope you love the content. I know it was too big, but I hope you understood about the importance of generating the code. Right now, this was the flow that we have implemented so far. So we have used both of the generator type. We have generated the API layer of React app. We have pushed that to an GitHub npm registry, and we also use the controller layer. We have used this to serve the request in the backend, and we are totally skipping this particular layer because it is getting generated for us. We are directly focusing on the business and the repository layer. Okay, and I hope this content was useful. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.